while the Trump administration really downplays the severity of COVID-19 and how we unfortunately have not gotten far in improving, the science and the treatments necessary to reopen the country, behind the scenes, Trump is panicking. And he's panicking because at this point, two people who he has close contact with, who the vice president has close contact with, have tested positive for coronavirus. One of those people was Donald Trump's valet, and the second person is Vice President Mike Pence's press secretary, Katie Miller. Now, what has the White House done in response to that? Well, they're scrambling to do contact tracing. Again, something that Trump has kind of downplayed when it comes to the general public. And so the Washington Post reports that the White House will receive heightened levels of daily cleaning, according to a memo. It also told employees they must quarantine for 14 days if they leave the Washington region and must report all of their travel. The memo did not suggest that employees wear masks. Now, there is a little bit of an update to this story. Apparently, now the White House is saying that everyone who works for the White House must wear a mask. Of course, Donald Trump has refused to do so himself, so I doubt that we're ever going to see him wearing one. Also, the White House had not identified who Pence spokeswoman Katie Miller contracted the virus from as of Sunday, raising concerns inside the White House about how to contain the outbreak. But Cenk, you wouldn't even know that. You would not know that if you just looked at videos of Katie Miller literally working over the weekend. Let's take a look at this video.
Is near the podium. This is Miller just yesterday working. You can see her. She's the one not wearing a mask, speaking to reporters as she traveled with the vice president to Alexandria, Virginia. Miller is also married to Trump's senior advisor and speechwriter Stephen Miller. These are two people with not just high profile jobs, high contact jobs. They come into contact with a lot of people in the West Wing from the very top on down.
So, I mean, on one hand, they're taking it seriously. On the other, you have this woman who has tested positive working without a mask on.
Okay. First of all, let me just say, I have nothing to criticize their new guidelines other than Trump not following them. I'm glad they're doing extra cleaning of the White House. They're testing people that are coming in. They're wearing masks now. That's good news. OK. On the other hand, we're in the middle of May. This has been, 2.5 months now, and you're just figuring out to wear masks, especially inside the building. I said it on the show a couple of times, and every time I saw it on the news, I kept thinking, is there any chance that they know something I don't know? Because they're all sitting inside a pretty small room with no masks on. That's asking for trouble. And then Trump had that hilarious line the other day when he's like, well, she got it out of the blue. I mean, I don't know how she got it. No, it's a virus. You can't see it. And how did she get it? What do you mean out of the blue? We just showed you just 2 videos and pictures of her being really close to people without masks on very recently. But these guys, they don't get it. They really think they're invincible. They can't get it or something. Of course, it's airborne. Of course you could get it. But they seem genuinely surprised, oh my God, it turns out we can get it too. This thing is dangerous.
Look, my read of it, Cenk, is that they want to downplay coronavirus as much as possible publicly because it doesn't bode well for the Trump administration. Remember, the only thing he cares about is getting reelected. And in order for him to be as boastful about the economy as he has been, you got to reopen things, even if it's premature, even if people die as a result. But while he's downplaying it publicly, the sense that I get is that privately he's panicking, right? Because he does understand how serious this is. He does understand that if he catches this virus, even though he's the president of the United States, and I'm sure that he would get all the medical attention he needs to survive, which, he should. The truth is, it's a scary virus. His own economic advisor admitted that he's scared to go to work recently on cable news. So let's just quickly look at that video. This is economic advisor Kevin Hassett.
Comes to your work environment you just described, do you wear a mask? Are you going to continue to show up for work at the White House?
I've got a mask right here. And the fact is that I practice aggressive social distancing. I'll wear a mask when I feel it's necessary. It is scary to go to work. You know, I was not part of the White House in March. I think that I'd be a lot safer if I was sitting at home than I would be going to the West Wing. But, you know, it's a time when people have to step up and serve their country. But I think everybody knows that going to work, you've been in the West Wing, you know, it's a small, crowded place. It's you know, it's a little bit risky, but you have to do it because you have to serve your country.
It sounds like he's worried he has it. Anyways, so he's absolutely right to be concerned. There's no dishonor in saying, hey, we work in a really small, confined space, and the virus is airborne. Are we sure we're safe? You should be asking that question. It's actually ridiculous that they weren't asking that question earlier. Anna's absolutely right. It was based on optics. And part of it is not just, hey, everything's going to be fine and let's reopen the economy. No, Trump has from day one considered basically a sign of weakness if you're wearing a mask. Why? Because he's profoundly and massively unintelligent. And so and then he's like, he freaked out that his own valet, the guy who serves him food, has coronavirus. And he apparently asked, why wasn't he wearing a mask? Because of you schmuck. You basically said that anybody wearing a mask is weak and shows bad optics. So nobody wore masks. You know how many Secret Service agents have coronavirus? 11. Okay. So now finally they're all wearing masks. Secret Service sits in an office, let's say close to the Oval Office, and apparently it's a tiny room, and there are three of them sit there together. They've been sitting there breathing the same air. And yes, Karen and anyone else could have picked it up from a surface, from airborne, etc. That's how the virus works. But Trump is freaked out about it internally because, of course, he doesn't want to get it. But what are the rules you're imposing on everyone else? And I agree with Mark Cuban. He went on TV today and said, look, my standard is whatever the White House is doing, I'm going to do for my employees, and we should do for everyone. So if they're cleaning, double cleaning, they're checking every day and doing tests every day, why should that be only for the elites? That's a fine standard to have for everybody. I kind of love that point. There's different things that I disagree with Mark on, but it's hard to argue with that. And of course, Trump doesn't want that. He wants incredibly safe work environment for himself now that he finally realizes the disease is contagious. But for the rest of you, back to the mines.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.